The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily represent those of this station or its management.
This is the Stockwell Roche Show, giving you real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Josh Roche.
To stage or not to stage? That is the question. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show every Sunday at 10 a.m. here on AM 1280, The Patriot. Today's topic, setting the stage, and it's all about getting bang for your buck, maximizing your profit or your sale price when you go to sell. And we'll get into details with that. We have special guests, experts on staging. They own a staging company, Mary and Becky with Clear Dwelling. And they are great. I can personally test and vouch for them as far as their quality, and the service that they provide is amazing. They do a great job. So welcome, Becky and Mary.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Jason.
You bet. And of course, we have in studio Maddie B, Gradient Home Mortgage.
Hello.
How you doing, Maddie B?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome. I like that. You're the deepness. I feel that. I feel that
Deep.
power.
Yes, I feel it.
Who do you got with you today, Matt?
I have Melanie with me today. Melanie is a new loan officer on our team, and will be helping out with all the clients that we're currently dealing with.
That's nice.
So welcome, Melanie. How you doing? We're all waving to Melanie. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you, Jason.
Awesome. So first part of the show, we're going to talk about the market update. And everybody, if you're hearing, like I said before in previous shows, realtors are not afraid. We're pretty outgoing people most of the time. So we're not afraid to tell you what's going on. And you're probably seeing on Facebook, you're seeing in emails and all these sold in 3 days, sold. So the market update is going to be pretty good overall. We'll get into that. And then Maddie B will give you an update on mortgages and the mortgage industry. And then we'll get into some tips and advice and helpful things for you to stage and why you should do it. And then maybe the pros and cons. There's not too many cons, but we'll get into that. So without further ado, Josh Roche.
Yes.
What's happening in the Minneapolis local real estate market?
I kind of want to talk a little bit about what I've seen in the last week. People are actually starting to put their game plans together. People are starting to list. I've got 4 pre-listings this week, just going out, and people are out looking. There's a lot of people out looking for houses right now, and you can see by the numbers they show. Change in new listings this time from last year, we're at 9.7%. Change in pending sales, we're still at 17%, plus 17%, and change in inventory, we're at minus 0.02. So people are out looking for houses, and I can attest for that personally because I'm out showing houses, I'm out listing properties, I'm doing pre-listings, and it's busy right now. There's a lot of people.
So change in inventory is up.
Yes.
So it's 9.7 more homes on the market
than last year.
This week, or this week last year than last year this
Correct.
week. 17. This is still staggering. Every
Pending
week,
sales.
every week this comes in higher.
It's crazy.
17% more pending sales under contract properties this time than last year, and then the change in inventory is non-existent.
I think that's a lot to test where interest rates are. And
It has
new
a lot to
products,
do with it.
because there's a lot of buyers out there looking, and then
There is so much opportunity available. We were talking about before the show that Fannie Mae announced yesterday, earlier this week, that they're going to be coming out with a new program where they're actually going to help gift the 3% down, which is huge. Down payment assistance programs are still out there. You've got your USDA for those people that are looking at buying out of the 7-county metro area, where you can get 100% financing. VA loans are 100% financing. These programs that are available for buyers nowadays are just phenomenal.
Well, if you've got some down payment too, you can go all the way down to like a 560 credit score is what I hear. So if you got some money to put down on a property, shoot, you don't have to have. I mean, it's going to be a hard loan to do, obviously.
They're going to be more work, but I'll be honest with you, those are the people that are going to refer everybody they know to you, because you actually you were the one who kind of sherped them up the mountain. You were able to help them find the solution, help them actually get back into home ownership.
That's why we're seeing those numbers, Jason.
Yeah, staggering numbers. Maddie B, what's happened? Thanks, Josh. What's happening, Maddie B, in the mortgage world?
We saw mortgage applications this week go up by almost 5%. It's talking about this time over last year, 16% on new purchase applications. Talking about business this year and going forward, it's a purchase market. Those people who are already in a home, over the last couple of years, you've probably got a really decent interest rate. But the way the market's looking right now, rates are staying down. We saw a little bit of fluctuation this week with just some of the global news that's gone on, but that stuff seems to correct itself pretty quickly here, and it's still a great time. And talking about the extra inventory that's on the market, I've had people who have been going as a to be determined address, trying to get out there and find a property while we have them in underwriting. These people are actually coming in. I had 5 purchase agreements come in the last 3 days.
So if you're out there listening, for you, your friends, family members, it's a good time to sell. It's a good time to buy. Sellers are happy, and a lot of them are happy. There's a couple.
They're going fast.
There's a couple that aren't going, and usually it's not. We don't want to make it sound like it's the same as it was back in the heyday, because buyers are, even though it's very active, they're still picky.
Extremely picky.
Well, it's not only that picky. It's harder guidelines too to get financing.
Oh, it's
harder guidelines on the financing, but they also don't want to make the same mistake. So if your property has a negative aspect to this, and I know other colleagues on other radio stations that do radio shows have talked about this, if you have a negative aspect to your home, you're not.
There are some out there.
Yes, not just the house itself, but I'm talking about the location, or if you're on a busy street, if you're back up to a train track, if you're underneath the airport zone or something like that. Those things are factored in a lot heavier now than they ever were, especially back in the heyday when in the 2000 run that we had. So be conscious of that and make sure that you're offering a nice quality home, but also know that your value is a little bit affected, or is sometimes a lot affected by those things.
Absolutely, it is.
Because there's still, it's not the crazy days like it was. People are making educated decisions when they buy now.
And the internet is so much more useful to everybody.
Yes.
I have clients that come in and they've already researched interest rates. They've looked up the real estate agents that I refer them to, or the insurance guy. So the knowledge is out there.
They look at all the aerial views of the property. They Google article. I mean, they just know a lot more. They know, sometimes buyers come in and they'll know more than me and or Josh and I on stuff, because they've researched the area.
No,
But some other interesting stuff here. Delinquency rates drop below 5% for the first time since 2007. Other more good news. So you drive around the cities here, you see fancy cars out more. You see boats. People are spending money. They have more money. The economy is almost, I would say, very much recovered. And other statistics here say that existing home sales spike in March. So March had a huge spike in existing home sales. So there's just all in all good news. So some people are out there waiting for the bottom to drop out and something to crash. But all in all, it looks like interest rates are going to be low for the foreseeable future, probably through this whole year potentially. So
it's good news.
We all hope so.
So we got to introduce our guests, because setting the stage for sure, and we got to get into with Becky and Mary about staging your home. Just real quick, I found an article on here that talked about, should I stage my home? It said 20 years ago, nobody worried about staging their home before putting it on the market. Giving it a good scrubbing and hiding the kitty litter box was considered sufficient preparation to putting your home for sale. But all that has changed as more and more home sellers in many parts of the United States enlist the services of home stagers. As with many trends, once the standard has been raised, it's hard to go back. So this article will explain to you what a good home stager does and why, despite the added expense, you might want to hire one to help you sell your home. So Becky and Mary,
it's going to be fun. Let's do this.
Clear dwelling stagers, you guys do this every day, right?
Absolutely. And to answer Jason's question, to stage or not, yes. Always.
Yes, always.
Even if you're doing it yourself, you should definitely stage your house.
Yep. And do you agree with that article, the comments on that they wrote about in the past, people didn't really care about it, but now it's some people start to do it, so everybody's doing it. And once you have that level or set that bar of expectation, you got to keep that. Right?
And I think the staging too, without that, you're not going to have good picks on the MLS. And what the other guests were saying, people do so much of their own reconnaissance before they even enlist a real estate agent. So they might have spent days, weeks, months looking on the MLS for pictures. And when you're looking at a picture of a staged house versus a not staged house, you're looking at like
night and day.
Why do they have a chair in front of the built-in bookcase by the fireplace that is like the centerpiece of that room? And I think because so many people now do stage, when people walk into a house that either is empty or not staged, they don't have the same reaction.
The feeling's definitely different.
Exactly. Well, and
it piggybacks off what Jason said about there's buyers out there, but they're picky. They know what they want a house to look like. People watch HGTV. They go to Pottery Barn.
those shows.
They have an ideal in their head, and that's the house that people like. Whether or not it's going to look like that when they live there.
Right.
Yeah, I think it would, and I agree that it would affect. So if you're out there listing, or if you're to come over to my house, for example,
or one of our houses,
or you guys,
sadly.
okay, how you
Don't
live,
come to our house without calling us.
yeah, how you live in your own home is completely different than what it's comfortable for you. So that chair in front of the bookcase or however you have it might be perfect and comfortable and totally the way you want it, and it fits everything and no one cares. But when it's almost like you're going out to, I don't know, prom, or you're going to a formal, you take a shower, you clean up, put some nice clothes on, and because you're kind of putting yourself out there. Your house, the same thing for your house when you go to sell. A lot of eyes are on that house. Lots of eyes online, in person, judging
Neighbors,
that house.
Right.
Because they want to know whether it's the house for them. So you want to make sure that you stage way differently, or potentially way differently than you live. Now, there's those of you out there that probably, I'm sure there are some of you, where you live in a staged house because you keep it just perfect, and that's awesome. And I'm sure you guys ever run into something like that where people...
Not very often.
Not very often?
Occasionally, but not very often.
Okay, so there's some of you out there, very small percentage. But so real quick from you guys before we go to break and we come back and hear your story, how you got started and some other things. What are some of the information that you guys can provide for people, or one tip that you might want to provide before we go to break? As far as staging and other than, yes, you should stage.
Well, I think as a prep, even before you have a stager come in or before you go to market, I think you need to be knowledgeable about what the competition is. I think a lot of times people think their house should be priced at a certain price, but they haven't been to the open houses in the neighborhood. They haven't looked around.
Talked to an agent.
And they haven't been realistic about what Jason talked about. There's some of those negatives that still exist that they might be impacting their house. And so really everything else has to be perfect. When I moved 6 years ago, we shared an alley with a Super America. So I knew that existed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So everything else, there couldn't be one other question mark in the house.
Right.
So I tried to eliminate any other.
That's good.
Yeah, because that was one strike already, a huge strike potentially.
Can't do anything about that.
Unless you like going late night to have ice cream.
I thought about blowing it up, but that's illegal.
Oh yeah, right. So that's a good point. That it's kind of it eliminates all the other, because every house has some negatives. But if you have a big negative like that in location, you can sway the buyers to see the other side of the positives of the house. So we'll be back after this break. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
And Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Special guest partner Maddie B with Gradient Home Mortgage, Melanie with him, and Becky and Mary with Clear Dwelling Expert Home Stagers. We'll be back soon.
Come aboard.
Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Today we're talking about staging your home, setting the stage. We have Becky and Mary with Clear Dwelling. They are a staging company, and we're here to help you answer any questions you may have, so always call us. Feel free to call us at 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773. You can check us out, the videos, on TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com. We'll also have an info page there for you to go to see information about any of our guests, all of our guests. TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com. And then find us on Facebook, Stockwell Roche Show. You'll see the videos there as well and information there as well. So any questions, always feel free to reach out and email us or
If you have questions, too, that you want to ask on the show, we've got a little link on there with questions. Just shoot us a question. We'll answer that question for you on there.
And if you want to know what your home's worth, there's an evaluation button on there as well. Free, no cost, no obligation. You'll just get an email with an update of activity in your area. So you can click on that as well. It's on the top page of the TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com. So Clear Dwelling, Becky and Mary, we were talking about staging and updates and tips before we left for the last segment. From this segment, I just wanted to touch base and see what your story is. What's your story? What got you into staging? your company name, your business. Just tell us kind of a rundown.
I'm curious about the name too.
You know, you can take 2 minutes. You can take an hour. Let's see what's going on.
How did we start? We started in 2010. My husband and I had rehabbed a house across the street from where we live, and we were all done. And Mary, my business partner, and I decided to stage the house. We used mostly furniture from our own houses, hauled it across the street, down the block, put it in the house. And the agent who listed our house, it sold really quickly. We had 3 offers in 2 days, and he
You're
used
talking
us.
in 2010?
When was
Or what year was that?
So it's 2015. It was 2009, 2010.
Holy moly, 3 days, because houses didn't sell in 3
Oh, it
days.
was
And Josh,
Right,
right?
no,
And Maddie B.
no.
Yeah,
It took
no,
a while in
yes,
2010. That was kind of a down
Well, and
market.
it's interesting because I was at the house one day doing some work on it when the buyer, the woman who ended up being the buyer, came through with me. And she went on and on about the furniture in the house and how it looked. And, you're not buying the furniture in the house,
Yeah.
but it does make a big difference. So from there, the realtor who listed it and sold it for us asked us to stage a few of his listings.
Yep.
So it just kind of snowballed from there, and we went on and have been working ever since.
And then you started the company, Clear Dwelling, off right away, off of that, or?
Yeah, a few months later, right, we started the company.
And then what are some other, what else as far as from you guys, as far as the story, is it something that you love to do, or do you like to flip, do you rehab and sell houses still?
No,
or
that was the only rehab
Oh, really?
I have ever done. Probably will be. We did that one all ourselves, and I don't recommend it.
Nice. Cool. So Clear Dwelling, the website for you folks listening is cleardwelling.com. And Mary and Becky, they're wonderful. I personally, on my rehabs and many of my clients and my team's rehabs, use them. And real quick story for you out there on one. I had a house in a good market, which was just this year, which is a great market all in all. On the market for 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks. We had about 15 showings, maybe 18 showings, no offers. So I said, wow, what the heck? I'm going to finally bite the bullet and pay Becky and Mary, 'cause sometimes I'm reluctant to do that. No, but so I staged it. I had a showing scheduled the day after they staged it, and then they wrote an offer and sold. So it could have been complete coincidence, but I feel it wasn't because
Not likely.
not likely because that house, I couldn't figure it out without it being staged. And as soon as it was staged, and in fact,
Days on market. It's the days on market, and I think that's the biggest key. Is you see a lot of those homes that are staged, they do sell a lot faster. And there's even, I'm looking at statistics here. The average home that's staged sells in within 4 months, and one that's on stage, it takes about 6 months for it to sell.
really,
So that alone, those statistics right there show that it is worth it if you want to get your home sold and for a good price. Make sure that you are using a stager.
Yes.
Now, I think
Yeah.
one of the misconceptions, though, is when you hire a staging company, is it's always for that luxury type home. Now, you guys, that's not true.
I would say that it is as much for the house that we do houses, of all price points. And sometimes you have a house where the living area and dining area is just one room, smaller house, no eat-in kitchen.
Yes.
So people walk in.
no dining is
They
complaint.
have no idea what to do.
where to do. And so you can incorporate dining into a room to make it look more hip and like an entertaining space, and instead of just kind of, sticking a table in and just trying to convince people that there's your dining
Yeah.
room. But I think that those houses benefit so much from staging. But I think also, the new builds too. We had one situation where we did stage, but for whatever reason, after a month, he decided to take it off the market and then put it on the market 2 months later, but decided then not to restage it. However, used the pictures that were already online
yeah.
and had person after person, realtor after realtor tell him people were really disappointed
At the furniture.
If
Yeah.
the
that
furniture
it
and
wasn't
everything was
there,
gone.
and then wanted us to try to recreate exactly what was in the picture, which was, which we did.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that so the pictures online pushed the traffic there, but then they were really disappointed, even though they had already visualized it, wanted to see that again in person.
Yep.
And then we had situations too where the houses had been on the market for a month, say, with another client, same thing that happened with Jason, and houses that we thought, well, we couldn't understand why they weren't saying because we can visualize that, and then they sold right away.
I think that's key, is days on
Yeah.
market.
I was the
Really-
guy who bought a staged house. Like
All right.
we saw it online. It wasn't staged. We got to the house and they had staged it earlier that week, and it
Yeah.
literally it showed me where I could put everything. It made my life really easy. As a single guy, it was like, hey, I want to be able to go in here and I want to know where my
Exactly.
couch, or I was able to actually at that point go to the furniture store and say, okay, I took pictures. I took pictures of how they staged the house. I wasn't going to buy the furniture, but I wanted to be able to say, this is kind of how I want my house set up. Like I was able to pick the things that were going to fit then too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the key, is fit in the rooms. And it's and I would think, for you out there, if you're in a suburb or if you're in a city like Minneapolis, St. Paul proper, this applies to all homes. And the reason I say that is, think if any of you have ever bought, if you're listening out there and anybody have ever been through a model home of new construction, or you have bought a new construction, or someone you know has. The buying of a house is emotional for the buyers, no matter how much of a number crunch you are, unless you are just simply one of those guys or gals who sits back at the computer, only looks at the numbers, and you're buying it for a rental or whatever. That could also be somewhat emotional. But anyway, the family home or the home for you or your family is an emotional purchase. So when you go into a staged new construction model, it is decked to the nines with everything.
It should be.
Every room
Right.
has got something in it. There isn't a empty room in the place. Awesome
and we're
furniture,
talking all the way back
awesome
down to
stuff, pictures on the wall, TVs, you name it. You walk in there, you could sit down and you're like,
I could live here.
I can live here. And that's exactly what happens. Now, when you close on your new construction home
and they take it all with.
and you go to, and you're like, wait a sec, and this has happened to me with buyers, this doesn't feel like the one we walked through. I'm like, it's exactly the same size. It's exactly the same house.
Same
It's the
house.
one that you bought. It just isn't staged, and it doesn't look as good because maybe your stuff isn't as nice as the model. But the point is, you got to take what the builders do to maximize their sale price and shorten their sale time, and do the same thing for your home when you
Right.
go to sell your home.
Right.
And you can do that
Good point.
at a
Yep.
fraction of the cost and of what the builders probably spend. And it does matter because time is money too. If your home sells in 4 months, the statistics that Josh said, 4 months versus 6 months, that's 2 months of holding the property, just the expense of holding it.
It's 2 more mortgage payments.
It's 2 more mortgage payments if you have a mortgage. It's also going to cost you because when a home is on the market longer, what do we all know about that? It usually sells for less than the list
Right.
price if it's on for a shorter period of time. So you want that wow feeling when they come in, that comfortable feeling. Now, Becky and Mary, do you guys handle homes that were, because you were talking about new construction, maybe vacant homes or remodeled homes where they're vacant. How does it work for someone, let's say
Living in
someone's
the home.
out there listening, they're living there,
Right.
they've been there 20 years. What are some of the things you do? One, do you work with them, and how does that work? If you do you use their stuff and all that stuff, or do you buy new stuff,
We
or what
just
happens?
store it all in the garage and bring your own stuff in? Or?
No, we work with people who are living in their houses. But it's hard to do to keep it showing ready, but it's not impossible. So we do that, and the cost of what it costs us or another stager to come to your house and spend 2 hours. We'll go through every room with you. We write it all down. We send a written report later. It's so much less than, say, reducing the price on your house, staying in it for an extra 2 months. It doesn't take that much time. It doesn't cost that much money. So I think it's really worthwhile to have anybody, a stager, or have one of your good friends come over, somebody you trust, whose opinion you trust. It's hard to look at your own house objectively.
Or you could have a realtor, but like Josh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like Josh, but I'm not. I don't have an
I'm not.
eye for this
No,
stuff.
I don't
I'm
either.
good at the sales part. I'm
Right.
good at finding things and doing things, recommending things. But then when it comes to design and colors and where to put things, that's not my cup
it's
of
not
tea.
my strong suit. No.
So I would recommend hiring it out for sure, or at least having Becky or Mary come in and contact them and check it out. But
And usually we try to determine when we talk to a client what we understand that sometimes when people are moving, they don't want to buy pieces for the house they currently live in.
yes,
But we'll encourage them if you're planning on getting this anyway, think about getting it now to use in this house.
See, now that's where Matt would be.
That
no,
makes sense.
Don't do that because we're going financing for a new house.
Well,
you,
Don't buy
you
nothing.
can go.
don't
so,
don't open a new charge card to do
now,
that.
did you notice that I said I could go pick out the things I wanted? I didn't say I wouldn't bottle the things I wanted when I was buying my house. I wouldn't pick
But-
out.
But sometimes you have to work with a buyer and try to determine. A lot of times at that point they do not have a lot of free cash to work
Correct.
with when they're trying to prepare for sale.
they could rent it from you though, right?
And so
as
then they could have us either come in and stage the house, help them use their own items. Usually we try to walk through the whole house because a lot of times it's more moving pieces
Placement,
from one
yep.
room to the other.
The more you
or
can incorporate.
taking things out.
Taking things out is
Go
what I
ahead
think
and
would
get
be.
a pod. Do it now because they can go store that pod. Better do it now than later.
Yes. Selling your house is critical. These things are critical to selling your house because it's a job for you and the realtors and everybody else involved to sell your house. And you have to be part of that job is what we're saying. So I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Back with more with Becky, Mary, and Maddie B. Talk to you soon.
It's 80s Day.
I love it. Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Talking about staging your home and the importance of it for anybody, for you selling, if someone you know selling. It is critical no matter what the value of your home is. If you stage it, there is a very, very high probability you will sell in less time and probably for more money than you would if you didn't stage it. Now, if
I
you're,
like your point when we were talking about the builders. That's exactly it. That's why they're doing that, so they can sell them faster.
yes, the builders do it. Everybody who is in the sales world does it to make that atmosphere the best for the client when they come in. And that's they Becky and Mary are great. They do stuff on my houses, my clients' houses. They've sold. You just see the results. So I have people. There was one house that sold right after they staged it. And the agent commented and said, wow, that couch or whatever it was or that setting is perfect. Where I had multiple feedback prior to that said, we don't know where we're going to eat or we don't know where we're going to sit. There's another one sold a week ago, and the buyer says, I really want this couch. And I don't know. Do you guys get calls, Becky and Mary, about? So are you?
Sure.
Do you sell your stuff
ask
or
that
do you not
exact
sell
same
your stuff?
question.
Sometimes, but we've been really busy lately, so we're just like, no, I'm sorry, we can't sell that couch.
Can you go over real quick, Becky and Mary? There was Clear Dwelling,
Yeah, I want to know how you got your name.
clean
Good
environments to sell homes, innovative and green staging, creative marketing strategies. They do other things as well. They're awesome. But describe your day. Is it, because I called you one time and you're like, oh, we're shopping. And I'm like, that sounds fun. But what do you?
We decide that nobody can work with us because our day is very crazy and chaotic. And
So you
we
two
both
do
agree-
everything.
At this point, we hire people to physically move the furniture. Sometimes
Yep.
we need to do it more, but we do everything. I mean, we source the materials, we rent for the storage, we own all of our own furniture.
You own the furniture.
Because we
okay.
we determined in the beginning that it's just really if you want to stage your house yourself, I think it'd actually be more expensive to go to Court Furniture Rental. I've looked on their prices online, like their furniture packages, and it's expensive. And then you don't really have somebody placing it for your particular house.
Oh, I get you. Yep.
Because each house, like you're talking about that house that we staged, where it needed some pieces of furniture that would define the spaces as to use. And I think sometimes you need somebody to actually come in and do that as opposed to just renting the furniture.
Yeah, and for you listening out there, if you a friend, a family member, coworker is selling a house, and it's just kind of like us as realtors, right, Josh? I don't know about you, Maddie B, but everybody thinks they know what to do, even though they're not doing it. So your friend at work will say, "Well, this is how you sell your house," or your friend at work says, "Well, here's how you should do your loan,"
Or here's the loan you should get. Here's where my interest rate is.
Yes,
Awesome. Love that. Thank you.
Everybody wants to help. I understand the theory and the concept is they want to be helpful. They want to protect you. They want to make sure you're doing the right thing. So from your guys' standpoint, Becky and Mary, from staging, it's something that everybody's like, well, I can do that. I would imagine. I would hear that more, and then saying, oh, I'll just come over and help you arrange your stuff, or I'll stage it, or we'll pick out the stuff. But and I honestly can't do it. So do you guys have is it something you've worked at? Obviously, you've learned over time of experience, but is it just an eye that you have, or is it an artistic? Are you guys more
read,
artistic,
take
or what's
classes,
going on?
read books.
Well, I think I'm constantly on the sites online, to see what it's not just about houses look, but staged houses too. I mean, you don't you do things differently, I think, for a staged house than you would for a house you live in. A house you live in, you do things because it needs to function in a certain way.
Yes.
But a staged house, you're not really. I
It's
don't
more about
Getting up in the
pleasing
morning, pouring
eye.
the coffee.
exactly.
you
You
know-
put it where where it visually looks the best.
Yes.
Not where it necessarily for the person
Functions
that
the
lives
best,
there personally, how they would want it to
Yeah.
function.
So you have a visual eye. Both of you are very visual as far as setting that. Because I'm amazed. If you guys, I don't know, do you have stuff on your website about befores and afters, or do you have photos on there of
Well,
products or
that's
houses
not
that
our
you've done?
forte
Okay.
websites. We have some stuff on Instagram, and so yes, we are going to seek help.
You
for
should
that.
look at our Instagram account or Facebook because we can't seem to get pictures on
So
our website.
we'll take your Instagram, or I don't know about Instagram. I'm not big on Instagram, but Facebook. We can, Josh, right? We can get it on the
link.
website.
yeah,
maybe
it's
a
just
link to
Clear
that.
Dwelling and Sea Dwelling on Instagram, and there's pictures there. Our website. You can contact us through it, but please don't judge us by the
Yes.
pictures on our website.
Yep. Or just call them, because it's one of those things. My point of the whole dialogue on this is that the experts, you want Maddie B doing, a guy like Maddie B doing your mortgage or getting an opinion. You want Josh or myself giving you an opinion on the value of your home and things
steps
you
in
need
the
to do in
game
your home.
plan, right.
You want Becky and Mary to advise you on the staging. Now, as far as everybody's like, well, what's it cost? What's it cost? This is a cost. That's the biggest hurdle I have, and everybody probably has, is thinking, how much is I'm going to spend this money, but yet I don't know. You don't know the return,
Right,
because it's
right.
kind of a moving target on the
Right.
return that you get from the. You have some statistics that show it. You don't know. It's not something you can tangibly see right out of the gate.
Right.
So what's the ballpark cost of that, and how do you guys handle that when people say, well,
Is it by
I don't
square
want to do it
footage?
because of this cost? And, I mean, and certain people just won't. Some of people just will never do it no matter what. But I found that the cost of it, again, is the sale price and the time on market and the energy that's created is way outweighs the cost. I don't know it's not something that's science you can put down into price per square foot or whatnot. But what do you guys say when people say or what's ballpark pricing? I guess maybe to get into, if you have existing home.
If you have an existing home and you want us to come to your home, walk through your home, give you tips about furniture placement, about maybe adding some few accessories that might be more, on trend as far as color palette and all of that, because that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yep.
I mean, every big box Target, you can go to Walmart and you can find, the colors that they're seeing in, Pottery Barn, West Elm, and they can just put a few of those items in their house and it really helps.
But let's say it's an
We'll
over
do a walk-
2,000 square foot, 1,800 square foot.
Yep, we'll do a walkthrough. Depending on if it takes hour and a half, it's going to be anywhere from $200 to $300. And I think that for being able to use your own items, I think that's a very small, and as a
yeah.
percentage of like your first, if you have to do a price drop, it's going to be thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And if you also know, Jason, it's not just that, but you miss that very important. Your
First
house has to
impression,
be
right?
ready
Yeah.
immediately, because you don't want to have to be reactive in the market where every time somebody gives you a comment about what they did or didn't
Yeah.
like, you then have to quickly run out and, okay, now I'm going to change this. now I'm
you've
going to
already
change
lost that
And
buyer.
you've lost the buyer.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah, and
exactly.
so I think people aren't very forgiving. So a lot of times they won't give you a second chance if they didn't like how it looked the first time. So I think you really have to be ready. And I think we just talk about people who live in their homes. I think the first thing that is the hardest hurdle is for people to have to emotionally separate themselves from their house.
Yes.
And it now becomes something for sale. It is no longer what contains all of your family photos and all of your personal mementos, because they have to walk in that house and they don't want to see your life. They want to see their new
Right,
life.
Yes. Very good point.
And
That
you're
is
selling a
yes.
lifestyle,
Right.
a lifestyle that they may want, or they may think that they will be living like that. And I think it just gives them opportunity, a clean slate to.
Yeah, that's a great point there about separating emotionally, because it is still your
vision.
house while you're selling it, but you don't. If you're truly selling and you want to sell, you don't want it to be your house anymore. So you got to do the right things to do that. So $200 to $300 typically for a consultation with someone. That's very, very worth it. Your city inspection may cost more than that to get your municipality inspection done prior to selling your house, right?
On the houses that you've used them on, do you find that you're getting higher offers? You're getting full price offers? Are you getting overvalue? Are you getting over listing price offers on houses?
Well, I'll give you an example of two that just happened that I talked about already, but they staged it, and we were on the market prior, soft selling it or trying to, and people went through and said, we don't know. And in fact, this house had been on the market for a year or more prior with someone else, and it's got staged. An open house was done, and it looks stunning. 4 offers came in, well over
That's
20,000 over ask as I think the one that actually settled and got it.
Yep.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, and that's the person I believe that wants to buy couches and curtains and all kinds of things in the house because it just looks so good. I can't tell you guys, how it's almost like something you should do. Reach out to Josh, reach out to myself, reach out to Maddie B, Becky, and Mary, and go through one of their staged homes. You feel like you're in. It could be a house built in 1950, but yet you feel like this thing is up to par with newer houses just based on the stuff that's in the home, and they match the theme, the colors, the curtain. Just all really. There's a very, very talented individuals. So check us out.
Go on. More, please.
Check them out on TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com. You get to see Becky and Mary in person. Me, the wonderful Josh Roche, Maddie B, Melanie will all be on TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com and on Facebook, Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
We'll be back soon. Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
And Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
We had awesome 3 segments with Becky and Mary from Clear Dwelling Staging Company. We have Maddie B in-house with Gradient Home Mortgage talking about your mortgage needs. You can call us 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773, and check us all out on a website, TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com, or go to Facebook, Stockwell Roche Show. We're happy to answer any questions and help out. We have a call, a live call right now online.
Yeah.
Luke.
What's up, Luke?
Are you there?
I am here.
Luke.
How you doing, guys?
Thank
Good.
you so much for being on and thanks for taking the time. I know you guys are extremely busy. You are with Your Boat Club, which is a boat service, and I wanted to basically have you on just because I subscribed or am a member of Your Boat Club this year, and I'm so excited about it and was so amazed that this opportunity was even available for people that want a boat that don't necessarily live on a lake or want to buy the boat and all those things. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you just go over what it is, kind of what Your Boat Club is?
First of all, I'm excited that you're on this, and you're going to take me out on the boat this year.
Yes.
I think
we are
be
actually
doing
going to
a few
have
radio show
a
events.
radio Stockwell Roche show
Live
party.
from the
We're going to do it
boat.
live, right on the boat.
If our loyal listeners, some of you out
Can I
there
come
maybe
too?
can
Yes.
come too. So, Luke, you're definitely more
Just
than
make
welcome.
sure we get a big one there, though, Luke.
So, Luke, Your Boat Club. So, just give us a quick, what do you do? How did it start? Kind of the history. What do you do, and what's the service you provide?
Sure. Well, my history goes back. I spent pretty much my entire life in the boat business on the dealership side. And after we sold our family business, I looked at boating as a whole and how challenging it can be for so many families, because boating is a fantastic family activity, but it's not easy. You have to trailer and haul and store and maintain and deal with everything, and it certainly makes sense for a lot of people to do that, especially people who live on the lake. But for a lot of individuals who don't live on the lake, getting access to the water or boating is extremely prohibitive. And I wanted to come up with a better way to get people on the water, to let their families enjoy boating, and researched a lot of businesses around the country that were doing a shared asset type of scenario, and came up with the concept for Your Boat Club. And this is now the start of our 6th year.
6 years, wow.
The first year we started with 5 boats, and as I like to say, my business partner Michael and I had 5 boats and a pocket full of coins, and now we're over 100 boats, and we're on 8 different locations, and our model is simple. You pay an annual fee and a membership fee, and there's different fees based on what lake and what size of boat, et cetera. But it's kind of like a full country club or valet boating. You show up, we grab your stuff out of the car, take you down to the boat, you go boating, and when you're done, you get to get in your car and go home, and we clean it and cover it and maintain it and take care of everything else. So it's boating really
simplified.
The benefits of boat ownership without all the hassles.
Yeah. So what I remember, Luke, is I like going on boats a lot. I love it. Right.
Well, I do too.
A lot of
We
people
live in
do.
Minnesota.
So all summer long, a couple times of friends would have a boat and they'd invite me out, and I'm kind of like that. I don't know, I'm like a kid waiting to ask someone to dance or something. I'm like waiting for someone to ask me to go on a boat, or I don't want to be that guy
That invites himself.
that says, "Hey, when are we going out? Or can we go out again?" So that's the only way I would get on, because I didn't own a boat. Then I'm like, well, I should buy a boat. And then I heard about you guys, Luke, and I looked at buying a boat, and I mean, they range all over the board, but to get something that was suitable, it was in the $35,000-$40,000 range. And then I was looking at where can I haul it? Where do I store it? I don't live on a lake.
Right.
Your guys Luke, can you go over the lakes you service, and then the costs, and then also the how it works just a little bit so people know, because I'm super excited about this if you can't tell. But
Sure.
I'm excited.
Well, we have 8 locations. Our first location was Prior Lake. We soon after expanded to Minnetonka. We're now on Lake Laconia, White Bear Lake, the St. Croix River, Forest Lake, as well as up north in the Brainerd Lakes area. We're on the Gull Lake chain on Gull Lake, and we're on the Whitefish chain on Cross Lake. So our members, once you're a member, you get access to our reservation system. It's unlimited usage. You just go online or on your phone or whatever you want and reserve a boat, and you can choose fishing boats, ski boats, pontoons, whatever you want, which really for me was one of the big drivers for this is at the time I had small kids, and so a pontoon made a ton of sense. But at the same time, in a couple of years, they're going to want to go tubing, and I want to go fishing with my buddies sometimes.
Right.
So I certainly wasn't going to buy 3 boats and try to maintain and store and take care of all that. So it just it makes sense, and really it boils down to the way the model works is unlimited usage is around what it costs just to put your boat in a slip at the various lakes.
Right.
A slip on Minnetonka can be $5,000, and for an unlimited use membership, our top of the line package is $5,800, and you can use all 8 lakes, all 100 boats, whatever you want.
that's what I was
That's awesome.
floored
That's
with.
huge.
Because
Yeah, you might get another customer here.
And I didn't know what to buy if I was going to buy a boat. And then also, so you guys are great because you have such a good fleet of boats. Would you say you have? How many boats?
100.
We're going to be over 100.
100 boats
this year.
So I can test out many different boats and see even what I'm comfortable with if I'm going to buy one, and even if I can handle it, and then or just do the membership, and why pay the hassle? I heard, is this true, Luke, that instead of what I did before with my buddy is I'd have to ride in the passenger seat. We'd unload the boat in the water after waiting in line for about an hour, maybe more, on Lake Minnetonka.
Right.
Then he would jump in the boat. I'd run in the truck and pray that there was a parking spot in the lot. If not, I'd drive about a mile or a half mile down the road to find one. Then I'd run back while he was waiting, and we'd get in. It was a 2-hour plus process many
Did you
times.
run the whole time?
So, Luke, explain how your system works for people, for convenience.
Well, when I make a reservation, and true, I'm one of the owners of the company. I'm not a member, but it works the exact same way, right? When I make a reservation occasionally, I'll leave my office downtown Minneapolis and head out to Lake Minnetonka, which takes me about 16 minutes to get there. When I pull up in the lot, I get out of my car, and the guys are waiting there. They know the boat's uncovered, cleaned, ready to go. They grab my stuff. Within minutes, I'm, shoving off from the dock and get to go boating.
So just so we're clear, this isn't special treatment for you, Luke, since you're one of the owners. This is something that members get. You pull up in your car, your time is reserved, someone comes out, helps you load your stuff from your car onto the boat.
Yes,
And then-
when you come back in, they help you tie it up. They carry your stuff back to your car, and you get to go home.
Wow,
awesome.
I'm sold. I am absolutely sold on. I'm sold on this, and I'm sold on staging by far today. This is an awesome show. So, Luke, how can they reach you, or what can people get more information?
Well, the easiest way is just go to yourboatclub.com. You can find us there, and there's a way to reach out and either do a live chat with us a lot of the time, or there's easy way to connect with us. Our phone number's there. That's the easiest way to check it out and see how it all works.
So yourboatclub.com, yourboatclub.com. We'll put the info on our Facebook page, Stockwell Roche Show, and on our TalkTwinCitiesRealEstate.com website as well. Luke, I know boating season's upon us. You're probably super busy, so thanks for the time. And
Appreciate it, Luke.
We'll see you this summer, buddy.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Yep.
Bye. So for you out there
Awesome.
listening, we're trying to provide you valuable information that is helpful to you in all aspects of your life, not just real estate. So hopefully that was helpful as well for some fun, because we all have to have fun. And we're in the land of 10,000 lakes, right?
We are. I to be honest with you, as I'm looking through the website here, I actually see a couple of the pontoons, and one of the pontoons I saw guys up in Cross Lake this last summer who had rented the pontoon from these guys, or who had
really?
membership.
Oh, yeah.
And they're it was
Nice.
It was an amazing pontoon.
Really? Yeah, they
Very
have some nice
nice.
stuff. So you're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
We'll be back next week. And I think next week might be the return of Karnak Jr., which is awesome.
fun.
So we'll do predictions, and we'll have Nene on, who's a great friend and agent as well. Maddie B., thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Gradient Home Mortgage. Melanie, thank you. Gradient Home Mortgage. And Becky and Mary, Clear Dwelling, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful week, everybody out there. Again, Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Advantage Plus.
Remember, love yourself and love others. Have a great week.